Albert Einstein once told the mathematician Jacques Hadamard that words played almost no part in his early thinking. His ideas arrived first as signs, images, and physical sensations. Words came later, when the thought was ready to be expressed. That may be difficult to imagine if your own mind is rarely quiet. Perhaps you hear yourself planning the day, replaying something you said last week, or conducting a remarkably persuasive argument with someone who is not there. The voice feels so natural that it is easy to assume it is thought itself, but it is not. And there is a stranger possibility. The voice inside your head may not have begun inside your head at all. It may have begun with other people speaking to you. Before we get there, though, there is a problem. How do you know what your own thinking is actually like? For several decades, the psychologist Russell Hurlburt has interrupted people at random moments and asked what had been in their awareness just before the signal. In one investigation, an undergraduate student called Lena was convinced she had an almost continuous internal monologue. For 10 sampling days, she carried a device that beeped unpredictably. Each time, she recorded what had been happening in her mind immediately beforehand. Researchers examined 37 moments. They found words in only 7. Every one occurred while Lena was reading or typing. There was no sign of the running commentary she believed had been accompanying her all day. She had mistaken the part of her thinking she could describe most easily for the whole of it. Between verbal moments, thought may arrive as an image, a physical sensation, a sense of space, or an understanding containing no words or pictures at all. Hurlburt and his colleagues call this unsymbolized thinking. In one reported example, a woman walking along a corridor understood that she should stop dragging her feet because the sound reminded her of an elderly person walking. But she reported no sentence and no image carrying that meaning. The understanding was simply there. The idea remains disputed because inner experience is exceptionally difficult to describe. But it raises a compelling possibility. If thought does not always require language, why do so many of us talk to ourselves? The answer may begin with a child trying to complete a puzzle. When the task becomes difficult, the child begins to speak. They are not explaining the puzzle to anyone nearby. They are giving instructions to themselves. The Russian psychologist Lev Vygotsky believed this private speech was an important stage in the development of thought. A young child first experiences language through other people. Then the child begins using similar words to guide their own behavior. They become both the speaker and the person being guided. As the child grows, Vygotsky argued, those spoken instructions become shorter and more private. Eventually, the voice moves inward. Later research suggests that it continues to serve much the same purpose. In a 2010 study, children completed a version of the Tower of London, a puzzle requiring objects to be moved into a particular arrangement. When they could solve it one move at a time, interfering with inner speech made little difference. But when they had to plan several moves in advance, their performance became worse. The voice was not simply commenting on the problem, it was helping to solve it. Adults still reveal traces of this. Watch someone reversing a car through a narrow gate. A previously silent mind may suddenly become audible. When a task becomes demanding, language returns to the room. This may be the strange reason you talk to yourself. At least part of the inner voice may have developed from speech once spoken around you, then directed towards you, and eventually used by you to direct yourself. A tool of conversation became a tool of thought. That does not mean people with less inner speech are less capable thinkers. A 2024 study compared people who reported frequent inner speech with those who reported very little. Those with less inner speech found it harder to judge whether words rhymed and to hold verbal information briefly in memory, but they performed just as well on several other kinds of thinking. Inner speech appears to be a specialized tool, particularly useful when the mind is working with words. That makes Einstein's account easier to imagine. But if inner speech developed from spoken language, does the brain still represent it in ways that resemble speech? In 2025, researchers recorded activity from the motor cortex of 4 people with severe speech impairments caused by ALS or stroke. The participants were asked either to attempt to speak or to imagine speaking silently. Both produced neural patterns that could be decoded. The signals associated with inner speech were weaker, and there were important differences between attempted and imagined speech. But imagined sentences could still be identified in real time. This was not unrestricted mind reading. The system required implanted electrodes, individual training, and control tasks. The researchers also tested safeguards against unintended decoding. Even with those limitations, the discovery is extraordinary. A sentence that is never spoken can still leave a measurable physical trace. The voice inside your head may feel weightless, private, and almost separate from the body. Yet the brain is still doing something physical when that silent voice appears. And for someone who can no longer communicate through attempted speech, inner speech may one day offer another route back into conversation. So why do you talk to yourself? Because language gives thought another pair of hands. It helps you hold an idea in place, plan what happens next, and guide yourself through something difficult. But the words you use may also carry traces of the people who first taught you how to do those things. Eventually, those voices became so familiar that they seem to have been yours all along. The voice inside your head may feel like the most private thing in the world, but at least part of it may have begun as something profoundly social. Over time, the other people left the room, but the conversation stayed. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Until next time.